Okay, we're working on step 1 for switch number 1 or SW1 for our DIY 3220 point breadboard project. I have a switch here. This is a double pole, double throw on, off, on switch. What we're going to do is we're going to cut a piece of wire here in a second, and we're going to attach it to pin number 2 of this switch. I have a printout here for our prototype of the power supply. You can find this on the website at mottbots.com under this 3220 point breadboard project. And right now we're working on switch number 1 and pin 2. So what I'm going to do, and by the way, the colors of these wires on this schematic aren't going to match the colors we're going to actually be using for this project. But anyway, we're working on switch number 1, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut a piece of red wire, and we're going to want to solder it to pin 2. Here's our switch. You can either refer to this side or the other side of the switch. It's not going to matter. I'm just going to refer to this side, and I'm going to rotate it here so we can kind of view the pins here on the bottom side of this switch, if I can get the camera to focus here. And I'm going to say that this pin right here, or this terminal right here, is going to be our terminal 2 for this switch. So we'll refer to our little diagram here, and as I said, for terminal number 2 there. So I'm going to get some wire. I'm going to take some red wire, and we need about a 12-inch length of it. It doesn't have to be exact, but about 12 inches will do good, about there. And I'll cut that off. And next what we're going to do is we're going to take our wire stripper tool, and we're going to cut back one end of the wire, the sheathing of it, about 1/8 of an inch or so. Not too much, just enough to expose the wire. And I'll do a couple of twists here. And now I have my 12-inch length of red wire and one end of the wire stripped back. And I'm going to grab my helping hands here off to the side, and I'm going to use this to help me hold everything so I can solder the wire to pin 2. So again, I'm referring to this side of the switch, and I'm saying that this is going to be pin 2. So that's where I want to solder this wire to. So I'll hold the switch here, and I'm going to take my wire, and what I first want to do is probably tin that end of the wire. That way it'll be easier to attach to the switch. And I'll also tin pin number 2 on the switch. Just need a little bit of solder to tin the end of it. And then I'll tin pin 2 of the switch. That way we get a good connection. If I can get everything to rotate for me. Kind of want to go up and down with it, kind of come in vertically. I'm standing up, so it's kind of hard to see. Okay, we have our first wire connected now. And let me straighten out everything. What we'll do now is we're going to take a piece of heat shrink tubing. I don't need this whole piece, so I'm going to take a pair of scissors. And I need just enough to cover this terminal and the wire where we just soldered together. That way we're kind of protecting that whole area from, a little bit more. So I can protect that area from other conductors or anything in the circuit that might touch that, and will prevent it from shorting out. So we'll slip that on the other end of the wire, and I'm going to slide it all the way down until it goes over the terminal. Hopefully you can see that. And then I'm going to take my heat gun. Got to turn it on first. And then I'm going to heat it up. Kind of go around with it all the way around. Just let it heat up and fit on that wire and on the terminal of the switch. Get good protection here. I'm going to move this. And that is on. So that's it for step number 1. We have our first red wire on terminal 2 of the switch. Let me move this. You can see that we have our wire on terminal 2 of the switch, matching to this terminal here on the schematic for switch number 1. So that's step 1 for switch number 1 for the 3220 point breadboard project.